In the picturesque town of Fredericksburg, Texas, stood a charming Victorian house that had been in the Mercer family for generations. With its ornate architecture and lush gardens, the Mercer house was the envy of the neighborhood. But behind its elegant exterior lay a dark history that would soon come to haunt the new generation of Mercers. One summer, the Mercer family decided to move back into the ancestral home after inheriting it from their late grandfather. The family consisted of Jack, the father, Sarah, the mother, and their two children, Emily, 16, and Ben, 10. They were excited to start a new chapter in their lives, unaware of the sinister presence that awaited them. From the moment they moved in, strange things began to happen. Emily was the first to notice the odd occurrences. She often heard soft whispers coming from the walls and footsteps echoing through the hallways at night. At first, she dismissed them as her imagination, but the events became increasingly hard to ignore. One evening, as Emily was unpacking in her room, she felt a cold breeze brush past her, despite the windows being closed. She turned around to see a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. It was a woman in a long, tattered dress, her face obscured by dark, stringy hair. Emily screamed, and the figure vanished. Emily, sobbing, "Mom, Dad, come here, please!" Jack and Sarah rushed to Emily's room, finding her trembling with fear. She described what she had seen, but her parents were skeptical, attributing it to stress from the move. "Jack, it's okay, sweetheart. You're just tired. Get some rest." But Emily couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That night, she had a vivid nightmare of the woman standing over her bed, whispering, "Leave this place." Meanwhile, Ben had his own unsettling experiences. He often played in the attic, where he discovered an old, dusty rocking horse. One day, he heard the sound of the horse creaking, as if someone were riding it. When he approached, the rocking stopped abruptly. Ben, to himself, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Suddenly, the horse started rocking violently, and Ben felt an icy hand grip his shoulder. He ran downstairs, pale and shaken. Ben, "Mom! Dad!" The rocking horse moved by itself. Jack and Sarah began to worry about their children's stories, but they still couldn't believe the house was haunted. However, their skepticism would soon be challenged. One night, as Jack was working late in his home office, he heard a faint sobbing coming from the basement. He grabbed a flashlight and cautiously descended the stairs. The sobbing grew louder, and he noticed a cold draft emanating from a corner of the basement. "Jack, hello? Is anyone there?" As he approached, the sobbing stopped and the flashlight flickered. He felt a chilling presence behind him. Turning around, he saw the same shadowy woman Emily had described, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Jack stumbled backward, dropping the flashlight. Jack, stammering, "Who are you? What do you want?" The figure vanished, leaving Jack in darkness. He hurried back upstairs, shaken to his core. That night, he shared his experience with Sarah, who admitted she had also heard strange noises and felt an unsettling presence in the house. The family decided to investigate the history of the Mercer house, hoping to find answers. They discovered that the house had been built by Jack's great-grandfather, a wealthy businessman named Henry Mercer. However, the more they delved into the past, the more disturbing the stories became. They learned that Henry had been married to a woman named Margaret, who had suffered from severe depression and was rumored to have practiced dark rituals in an attempt to cure herself. When Henry discovered her activities, he locked her in the basement, where she eventually took her own life. Her spirit was said to haunt the house, seeking revenge for her torment. Armed with this knowledge, the Mercer family decided to confront the spirit. They enlisted the help of a local paranormal investigator named Lucas, who had a reputation for dealing with malevolent entities. "Lucas, you've done the right thing by seeking help," Margaret's spirit is restless and needs to find peace. Lucas conducted a thorough investigation, using various tools to communicate with the spirit. He set up cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic field detectors throughout the house. That night, as the family gathered in the living room, the temperature dropped suddenly and the lights flickered. Lucas began to speak to the spirit. Lucas, Margaret, we know you're here. We understand your pain and suffering. We want to help you find peace. Please, show us a sign. The room grew colder, and a faint whisper filled the air. Margaret, V.O., leave this place. The whisper was followed by the sound of footsteps and the creaking of the rocking horse in the attic. Lucas continued to communicate with the spirit, urging her to move on. Lucas, Margaret, you don't have to suffer anymore. Let go of your anger and find the light. Your family forgives you. Suddenly, a bright light filled the room, and the shadowy figure of Margaret appeared. She looked at the family with sorrowful eyes before slowly fading away. The house grew warm again, and the light stabilized. The Mercer family felt an overwhelming sense of relief. Jack, to Lucas, thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. Lucas, you're welcome. Margaret has found peace, but remember, this house has a long history. Always respect it. From that night on, the strange occurrences ceased, and the Mercer family was finally able to enjoy their home. They never forgot the events that transpired and made sure to pass down the history and lessons learned to future generations. The Mercer house remained a symbol of both beauty and mystery, its dark past a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the spirit world.